Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. Listener discretion is advised. Over the course of the past 30 years, the sport of mixed martial arts has gone through a huge level of evolution. In my personal fan opinion, the biggest changes have come in the last 5 to 10 years. What's even more impressive is when you can come across a veteran that has spent almost 20 years making a name for themselves in the sport. Thus is the story of my guest, Sean P-Town Wilson. Sean is a lightweight fighter from Omaha, Nebraska, who has done turns in promotions such as BKFC and will be fighting this Friday night at the Ralston Arena for Dynasty Combat Sports New Year's Knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Caught on the Mic. Ladies and gentlemen, this Friday night, New Year's Knockout Dynasty Combat Sports is taking place at Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Omaha, Nebraska. Those of us from Nebraska more affectionately refer to that place as the Ralston Arena. I don't know why they keep changing the fucking name. Lord knows. But joining me on the podcast today is Nebraska, I'm going to say it, MMA legend, Sean P-Town Wilson. How the heck are you, man?
I'm doing really good. Just kind of doing this little weight cut this last week. I got about 15, 16 pounds to go, and I feel absolutely amazing for this one. So I got zero complaints. So I'm doing good. Thank you. Good night. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I tell you what, whenever we were trading texts last night, I don't know how you cannot cut weight with as busy as you are this week between work and training and all the other shit you got going on.
Yeah, my life is literally nonstop I got my dog sitting right here with me driving. It's just all like, I got it done so many times, like a science. I'm doing the water log cuts, 2 gallons, 1 gallon down and so on. You got to watch what you eat, no more than 50 carbs a day for this week, no sodium, and it just comes off. So it's kind of just willpower to do it. So for this week.
So what's the hardest cut you've ever had to do?
I remember I was going for 14 pounds in a day. I was with my brother Ryan Roberts. We got down to, and I had kind of a little bit of a cold, but I lost 12. And the last 2, I remember him just keeping me in a bath and just locking the door. He wouldn't let me out. I was dying, and I somehow did it. And then I was 1 pound. I got there, I was 1 pound. He locked me in a sauna also, and I'm trying to push out of it, and he wouldn't let me. It was just horrible, but I got it done. I did 14 in one day. I can never do that now. I'm too old, but I got that done. That was probably 15 years ago.
Jeez. So you fight mostly at lightweight. What do you walk around at, if you don't mind me asking?
I've gotten up to 205. That's when I was lifting real heavy. But if I just walk in normally, 180 to 185 is what I'm like just naturally at. For this camp, I kept it real good. I haven't left the gym. I've been fighting. I keep fighting nonstop, and I haven't left the gym, so I haven't really got over for this one, 74. So, and I'm fighting at 55. So yeah, I did really good for this one. I feel real fast and healthy. So I can't wait to show it Friday night. It's gonna be, with all due respect to the dude, but I think I'm just gonna overpower him, and I don't really think it's gonna be much of a fight.
Love it. Well, without any further ado, since we kind of got the small talk introduction out of the way, why don't you take this opportunity to introduce yourself, and let's talk a little bit about your origin story.
Sean Wilson here. I did grow up in South Omaha as a kid. Then we moved to Papillion, so I kind of got the nickname P-Town. It stuck throughout my I did amateur boxing, and I fought in Golden Gloves when I was 17. So I was like a senior in high school. The kid I fought was like a rival high school kid. Different high school back then, and the crowds were going. They started with P-Town, like, because Papillion, that wasn't even my name at the time. It just stuck from there. It was the chunks of P-Town versus his school, and I think there was more fights in the crowd actually with all of us high school kids. But that stuck. So I started with amateur boxing, turned pro probably way too soon. I saw money, saw dollar signs, and I was just like, I want to make some money. You can get paid doing this stuff. So then, and back then there was no pro. It was all pro. There was no pro amateur MMA. So it all started up, and I just jumped right into it. And here I am, 20 years later, still doing it. It's crazy.
And you've had a recent run with Bare Knuckle. And how did you get involved with that promotion?
So like, God, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, that show started. Bare Knuckle, it became legal, and I've always wanted to do it anyways. I said I've been wanting to do that before the show. And then I told my buddy at work, I'm like, dude, I'm going to get on that show somehow. That's all I want to do. And then COVID hit, I remember, and stalled it for a long time, a couple of years. So, and then they got a hold of me and said that they're coming to Omaha, and I've been just hooked ever since. I've had 4 fights, my 3-1, my loss to Kevin Kroom, who's a total monster, great fighter, UFC veteran, this and that but I feel like that was probably the best thing that's happened to me so far lately, because it just lit a fire under me. He like revamped my whole career with that loss. I've won 3 straight since then, and go looking forward to Friday. But yeah, bare knuckle is really fun. I like it. That fits me perfect. You can't take me down. I'll just stand there. I got a chin, and yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. Boxing being your initial discipline, let's talk a little bit about how you transitioned to MMA, because a lot of young guys do not understand how versatile and how complex MMA is now versus how simple it was when it first started out. Like when it was one discipline versus another. So with you having an anchor in boxing, how did you translate boxing to MMA, and how much work was that for you when you first got involved?
So yeah, I mean, I've always done amateur boxing. Like I said, I think I had my first fights. I was like 13, 14. And when I was always be in the gym, I had to have my parents drive me off there. My dad always had us doing workouts. So I was always pretty athletic. I played football. I was always in pretty decent shape as a kid. And then MMA came around, and I just kind of started training it. But like I said, I had a good boxing background, but I'd be sparring all the coaches and the older guys, and they just fell in love with me. I think it was just I was always a decent boxer somehow. But and then also back then, there was not really much jiu-jitsu.
Right.
It was kind of just, I mean, I have fights still on tape where I fought guys in jeans. They're on VHS cassettes. God, you can even YouTube them. It was just much different. Now it's an actual sport. Everyone's trained. If you're going to do this, everyone's trained. Back then, it was just like coming off my little boxing. I was coming into the ring fighting. It was a street fight, but I had that boxing. So I did very well as a back then when this stuff started. So it's a lot different now. I think everyone's got it. Back then it was easier, I feel, if you had a little athleticism. Now it's, I mean, everyone is training. Everyone knows all these chokes and stuff. Back then you just had to it was all grit, tough it out.
Yeah, I've talked to many fighters about how much the sport has just changed in the last 5 years. Like last 5 or 6 years. It's crazy because you go from a point to where it was just sheer brutality, and now the conditioning is so important, and being well versed in multiple facets of the sport is so important, and there's so much science involved with weight cuts and everything. It's awesome to see it grow like that, because it's killing a lot of negative perception that people might have. But at the same time, do you ever miss some of that simplicity?
Yeah, I mean, I do, of course. I mean, I was winning a lot of fights in my career just out of my boxing and off my strength. And then here comes the cardio, and I'm like, oh shit, I can, the beginning of the end, this guy's in great shape. I should have not been drinking up to the week of the fight.
Right.
But back then, yeah, I mean, I could do that type of stuff back then, but not anymore. Everyone is training. Everyone knows the cardio is your best weapon. I'm just now 41, and I'm literally just now learning that and like taking it serious. I wish I could redo my whole life career with fighting. I would have gone a lot farther, but now I'm just having fun with it and trying to stay in shape and knock out a couple more fights and knock out a couple more guys. So, but yeah, it's changed big time for the better, of course, though. As much as I say all that, it is for the better for the actual sport. All these up and coming young kids are doing great. So I don't know. I like it. Just it's one of the best sports out there right now.
What is it about guys our age in our 40s now to where I don't know, maybe it's just my perception, to where we feel so much younger in our 40s than the generations before us did? You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, for sure, for sure.
right?
I
It's like,
see some guys. I see some guys that I didn't even know I didn't even know their age. I just always thought that they were older than me. I mean, my boss, some of the guys that were superiors at work, and they could barely. Well, I don't could barely walk, and then I somehow come across their ages. I'm like, I'm older than that guy.
right?
It's insane. But I don't know. I think it's just staying in shape. And then I did stop drinking. I've been drinking almost 6 months. So to me, that was a huge factor. Dieting really good. Like I'm just eating clean. And I swear I feel like I'm 20 something right now. It's insane.
I love hearing that. What
Yeah.
have you noticed as far as a psychological effect since you cut out alcohol 6 months ago?
I just mentally, like I can see clear. I'm doing things better. I feel better. I mean, I'm walking better. My joints I don't feel the age anymore. God, I ran miles today. And the only thing I've done different in years and years and years, the only thing I've done different is stop drinking. Today's like day 175, and I don't ever plan on drinking again. That's my, it's just huge for me. I could go on, and I don't like to preach about it, but like, it's just I should have done it a long time ago. I suggest recommend it to anybody who it'll definitely beneficial. It's beneficial.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it was kind of a loaded question because not because of any type of addiction issues or anything along those lines, but I cut out alcohol about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was all because of psychology. And it wasn't necessarily about my physiology. It was much more about like anxiety and like the hangovers were lasting a lot longer. The feeling the need to call everybody and apologize for shit I didn't even do was happening more frequently. And I'm noticing that this is kind of becoming a trend amongst guys our age, to where a lot of guys are just like, I can't do it anymore, and I prefer not to do it.
Yeah, you're the second one in the last couple hours who actually told me that, because I was having a talk with this guy. I just got off work who was saying the same thing. Or no, it was today at the gym in the sauna. That's what it was. This guy's my age, and he was saying the exact same thing. He goes, it seems like that's like the thing these days with people just stopping, feeling better, and that's it. And I've been noticing that nobody parties like we used to do back in the day in high school. Like the new high school kids, they don't party like we used to. That's right. I mean, we ate, sleep, drink, wake up, drink, partied. We always met well and everything. We partied. It's crazy. And I see that is kind of like the trend now. People are going to like a lot of NAs I see are out there now, non-alcoholic drinks. And I jumped on that ship, and I feel 10 times better. So whatever's going on out there, it's a good thing, I think. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. As a father of teenagers, when the girls ask me to go out, I'm always like very suspectingly going, so where are you going? And then I find out that they're just like eating pizza and drinking Kool-Aid at a party, and that's literally what they're doing. I'm like, what the hell happened?
You're absolutely right, because my kids are 19. My daughter's 19. My son's 18. And I had 2 DUIs by their age, right. a million MIPs. And I love what they're doing. I'm like, what are you guys doing tonight? Oh, we're just going to go watch a movie and hang out. And I'm like, is that code for something? And it's not. Like, that's all they do. I'm like, right. This is great, I guess. But
oh my gosh, I love that. And I love the fact that you have teenagers as well, because we can have a kinship as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So going into Friday, I was talking to Henry. I saw him the other day, and he said this card was kind of hard to book. Every card that follows the holidays, he says, is a little bit more challenging because you take 2 weeks worth of training out of somebody's regimen, realistically. And it makes a lot of sense. How long ago did you book this fight, and how long have you been training with this specific fight in mind?
Okay, so I just fought for him October 13th, did very well. I thought I needed, a tough kid. Shane Moffitt came down from St. Louis, and with all due disrespect to him, I like him. I took him down and choked him out really, really quick and easy. I didn't throw one punch. I haven't left the gym. Like I said, I haven't left the gym at all. I kept it going. So Henry offered me this fight right away. So I've known about it, a good 3 months. I'm supposed to fight somebody else, but this McKinney guy came in. I think I've known about it maybe 6 weeks. I know he's tall, slender, likes to kick really hard. So I've known all that. We've been working on that in the gym. So basically, to answer the question, 6 weeks of working on just this guy.
Yeah.
And I feel very comfortable, and I can already see how I feel like it's going to go. And usually when I visualize it over and over, I'm going to make it happen.
So going through your record and all your tenure with all of your fights over the years, do you spend a lot of time studying opponents, or do you just take it on raw?
I've never been a big opponent studier. I might look them up, look up the record, whatever. I've always asked for tough fights. I love having the tough fights because I always feel like I can hang with these guys and compete with them. And when I do, that just makes I've never asked for an easy fight. I think this is my third opponent for this show, but my coaches do that for this fight. Like, the coaches watched him like crazy, and they've been mimicking him. We've been sparring. They've been mimicking his kicks and stuff. What he does. But no, I've never myself. Maybe it's because I don't have the patience and stuff. But man, probably my ADHD too. I can't sit still. But no, I never. If I see them do something, I'm like, oh god, I psych myself out a little bit. So I kind of just refrain from. I just let my coaches handle that. And they tell me what to do, and I train on it.
That's dope. Being a veteran such as you are, you probably train around a lot of 20-somethings. Do you find yourself in a position of being a mentor for some of the younger fighters? And what do you kind of pass on to them?
I do. A lot of them are always asking me a lot of questions, and I know that they're the next crop of fighters. Up and comers. I'm kind of the old person, kind of a couple more fights and I'm done. I'd always love coaching, love holding mitts for these guys. I love wrestling. I'm not gonna lie, I can still hang with most of them. I know that's short lived, but as far as mentoring, yes, I'm always giving advice. My advice would be patient, trust your coaches, trust your team. Don't just see dollar signs like I kind of feel like I did and jump into really bad fights. Don't take bad fights if you can't. And trust the process. And I think patience is the best thing. And don't stop wanting to learn. Here I am, 41, and I just took over this new thing where I'm actually paying attention to the techniques and stuff. So pay attention, always be willing to learn, be like a sponge, learning stuff. So yeah.
Do you see coaching as maybe the next step in your personal journey when you're done fighting yourself?
I'm going to do a few more, and then I'm going to try to find a gym that'll let me, that would like me. I mean, I can always do like boxing and kickboxing. I would actually do like boxing workouts. I like those a lot. I feel like I'm better at those and can really benefit some people. But I do see that on the horizon in the near future. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So who are some of the people that have inspired you throughout your career?
So the guys I've been training with lately, Dan Clark. He's retired OPD here in Omaha. I got pictures with him training. God, when I was I'm 41 now. I got pictures training with him when I was like 18. The guy's a legend, and he's like me, the old dog. We're still getting after it. He still gets in the gym and spars and everything. So I've always looked up to him. I told him that when he reached out for this fight, kind of helped me out. I'm like, man, I've always looked up to you. Let's do it. And had a good camp. Joe Bodler, he's another one. He's a legend around here too. Vito Augusta, all the old school guys. Vito Augusta's the man still. All the old guys that kind of moved on. Neil Binkley. We grew up in a different era where it was no holds barred, a lot of no rules, no weight classes, and there's a few of us that are still kind of getting after it, even if we're just training. And those guys I still look up to all those guys. They helped me a ton in my career. They really took care of me. I was the young kid at the time to them. Now that they were like how I am now, 40 and 30, 40 something, and they took care of me, kind of took me under their wing a lot of times. So I owe them a lot.
That's amazing. And speaking of kind of owing things and thinking in terms of what you owe yourself, have you ever stopped and asked yourself, what is your why? Like, why do you do this? And what drives you and has driven you throughout the course of your career?
Yeah, someone wrote to me the other day on my Facebook. They're like, "Why? You have nothing more. You have nothing left to prove. You don't have to prove anything else." And I didn't understand that because to me that wasn't true. I don't have anything to prove to anybody or myself. Maybe a little to myself, or I like the challenge. I've always liked the challenge. Like I'm trying to say I'll go make 135 if someone offers me, and just because I like that weight cut challenge. But as far as the why, I don't know. I just got back from California. I go to Miami next week. These little fights are paying for my vacations, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Staying in shape, the no drinking thing. I feel great. Like, I've been asking to fight in that bare knuckle. I said I'll fight anybody, any state. I'll come by myself, and I can't get any fight. They offered me the number 2 guy. I said yes before they even finished their sentence, and I guess his camp said no. So yeah, I'm not done yet. That's my why. Like, I'm not done yet. I still got a little bit left to prove because I don't know. I just feel I feel great. So
I love that. What is it about the pedigree of our area, of Nebraska in general? You know, I work a lot with the elevation guys from Colorado, and I've got a lot of friends out there, but there's some crossover. Guy we both know in common, like Drew Dober. And so what is it about Nebraskans in general? Because it seems like we're doing a really good job of churning out a lot of talent in our area.
I just think, I'm not gonna lie, there's what else is there to do? There's I mean, we got Nebraska football, but that's really it. If you're not built to like for football, everyone just and wrestling's big around here. Wrestling, you know, a lot of these guys started out wrestling. Drew Dober wrestled in high school. You know, and it just seems like it's like in our blood, like this Midwest thing. I mean, there's so many good fighters. There's so many gyms around here now. You can go into any gym and get a great workout, get a good roll, spar, whatever. It's I remember back in the day, again, when I started, there was like 10 fighters in Omaha. There was like 10 of us that we'd have to fold out wrestling mats, like those fold up like yoga mats, on the basketball court at the gym and train. It was nuts. And now they're just on gyms are seem to be like in every corner. There's so many to pick from, and that's how I am. I don't really have like a home gym. I'm still friends with all these guys who own these gym, and I'm lucky enough that they let me kind of come and go as I kind of please. You know, I'll pay whatever. And they're all still my buddies. I just want to get some good workouts in, and yeah.
For sure. What do you wish you knew back then that you know now about your career?
I wish I knew that it was going to be like the sport was going to blossom like it did. It sounds silly, but it's absolute true. Back then, it was, again, just get into a ring and fight. I think my first few MMA fights was at that Bourbon Street, and I fought for a $50 gift certificate every time. I never even used them, but that was what we were fighting for. People would get in the ring and just call out everybody and wave their hands. I'll fight anybody. I'm like raising my hand. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But that's how I thought it was. I never thought it was going to be a big sport like this Conor McGregor stuff, where you could actually make millions of dollars. The UFC giving out $50,000 bonuses. If I had redone it and pick and choose who I fought, like even just a little better, or trained smarter, didn't drink, I just always partied and went and fought. God, I have fights where I would drink on the car ride to the fight. It was nuts. But I would redo it all, and I think I would have gone a lot farther. I really do in this.
Yeah. But, you know, life is windshields, not rear view mirrors, right? So
For sure.
You have Friday to look forward to, and it sounds like a handful of fights in your future. Where do you expect this to be 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself?
I mean, I'm trying to get a bare knuckle fight, BKFC. I really love that show, and I love just the whole aspect of it. Stand and fight. You got, 5 2-minute rounds, get after it. I could see myself doing a few more of those. I'd say I have a good 2 years left of me, as long as I keep doing what I'm doing now, as far as the dieting, no drinking, and taking it serious and training hard. I think I got a couple more years. After that, helping. Working out is my drug, so I'll have to be in some sort of gym. I'll always be at my Genesis lifting weights and running. But as far as the fighting part, just trying to help all the new guys, just stay part of it. Cornering, I love cornering guys too. So just stuff like that.
I love that. What's important to you in 2024? How do you define who Sean is outside of the arena of fighting?
I mean, I think I've changed my lifestyle 180 degrees. You can ask anyone who knows me, anyone who's kind of paid any attention to my life. I did some dumb stuff. It's been about 6 months ago. Kind of a wake up call. And 2024, I told everyone it's going to be my year. Just lifestyle. I'm doing great, making good money. I'm working hard. I'm not letting anything bring me down. I'm not drinking. So this is probably going to be my best year out of 41 years for sure.
I absolutely love that, my friend. So my last question, and this is my favorite wrap-up question for every guest I have on the show. It's kind of a curveball, but what is your advice for making the world a better place tomorrow than what it is today?
I hate seeing bullying, and I've been seeing a lot of it around here lately. I've seen a couple of videos that even here in my hometown of Papillion, I wish everyone would just try to be nicer. These poor kids, a lot of them, if they could just be like me. I never got into bullying. I was always into helping kids, helping anybody. I was the one who would fight the bullies, beat up the bullies, make the world a better place. Just be kind, give everyone a chance. I mean, there's all sorts of different races, colors, sizes. Just be kind to everybody, pretty much.
Sean, I am so glad we got to meet and connect for this episode. I'm excited to see what happens. And thanks for doing the show, man. The world's a much better place with you in it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Once again, I want to thank my new friend, Sean Wilson, for doing the podcast today. Extra special thanks to my friend Henry from Dynasty Combat Sports for facilitating this opportunity. Make sure you're following Dynasty Combat Sports on all forms of social media. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, wherever you can find them. And while you're being generous with those follows, make sure you are following Caught on the Mic on the same social media and podcasting platforms. Please like and share my shit as much as you possibly can. We're an algorithm world, baby. We need to drive them algorithms crazy. You can find me www.caughtonthemic.com as well, and send me an email, caughtonthemic@gmail.com. This has been Caught on the Mic with Michael Clark. I'm Michael Clark. Until next time, thank you.